When I get asked for advice by a viewer, I take giving them a helpful response very seriously. One of the top 3 questions I get asked almost on a daily basis is, which sled should I buy? Obviously, there's no easy, universal answer to this question. Everyone is different riding areas, riding styles, must-have features, and of course, different general preferences. So when I do get asked this question, I take the asker through a process to help me understand them better and oftentimes to help them better understand themselves. A few weeks ago, one of my best friends, Stefan, whom you may recognize from past stories on the show, came to me with this exact query. He wants to upgrade his 2017 Polaris XCR 600 next season, but which new sled is the right one for him? So I said, come on over to the SnowTrax compound and we'll figure it out. And that's exactly what we're gonna do today.
So I'm looking into buying a new snowmobile for next season, just to get something that's a bit newer and also something that is a little bit more versatile than my current sled. Something that has a little bit of a longer tunnel where I can attach like an extra gas can, a luggage bag or something like that. My current sled, I don't have the option to do that. One of the main reasons why I called Luke to get his opinion on which sled to buy is because I really do trust him. He's been around snowmobiles since forever, so I really do value his opinion. He talks good and bad about all of the different types and brands of sleds out there, and he's super knowledgeable.
Before we start figuring out what kind of rider Stefan is and what he's looking for in a new sled, we need to answer the most basic question of all, and it relates to brand. Some people will only buy one brand, end of story, and that's totally fine. All brands are making great sleds nowadays. But some people have zero brand loyalty. They will pick a sled based solely on how it fits and performs, and this is Stefan. He really doesn't care what brand his sled is. However, he and I ride together almost every weekend, and oftentimes we'll swap sleds, or I'll just let him take one of our test units for the entire day, so he has ridden pretty much everything. Through all of this, he has found that he prefers how Polaris sleds fit, feel, and most importantly, handle more than the others, so he knows that is what he wants next.
So Luke and I, we ride quite a bit together, like almost every weekend throughout the winter. Obviously, they always have the newest of all brands available. So I always have the opportunity to be able to try out all the different sleds. It's kind of a unique experience where I do have that advantage where I can physically try different snowmobiles because it really helps me to see what I don't like and like of a particular snowmobile.
Once I knew we were only looking at Polaris sleds, I decided to assemble our entire fleet of Polaris test units so he could look at all of them. But before we get into that, there's a few more things we need to figure out. The first is pretty straightforward. What type of rider is he? Does he ride off-trail? If so, how much? Is he an aggressive rider, or is he more mellow? We can gain a lot of insight into these questions by looking at what sled Stefan rides now, what he likes about it, and what vehicle traits he would like to improve on when buying a new sled.
So my current sled is a 2017 Polaris XCR Rush 600. One thing that I really like is the handling. The handling, it's super predictable. The ergonomics of this sled, just the positioning of the handlebars to the comfort of the seat, it's something that you can go out and ride all day and put lots of miles on, and it's super comfortable and it just doesn't get boring. So basically in a new sled, what I'm looking for, preferably to have one that has a bit of a longer tunnel, again, just to be able to add, storage bags, fuel tanks, that type of thing. Something that handles a little bit better, performs better on the back end without compromising the precise handling of the front end. Super curious to see how the 650 motor works in the Polaris. Right now my sled's a 600, which I absolutely love. So I'm just curious just to see how much better, if it's better, than my current sled.
Through all of this, we can determine that an Assault probably isn't the right sled for Stefan. He rarely, if ever, rides off trail, so a 144 or 146-inch skid isn't going to do him any good. So now we know we're only looking at trail sleds. At this point, I thought it would be a good idea to go out and actually look at and talk about each of the sleds we have here. Okay, so I wanted to go through all the sleds that we have here and just kind of talk about them one at a time. And how did you feel about this one? You and I rode it already, you know about it.
Yeah.
How did you feel on it?
Really, really fun sled to ride. The 850 motor obviously is a lot bigger than my 600, so that's the biggest difference that you noticed right away, just having that extra horsepower underneath you. But the one thing that I didn't really like that I noticed in comparison to mine is just The handlebar positioning, the ergonomics of the handlebars is a little bit different. It's a little bit more forward.
In terms of like ride quality, did you feel that the XC gave you better ride quality than your current sled?
You know what, I would say it's very similar, especially in the front end. One thing that I wasn't sure of, because it's a bit of a longer tunnel than mine, I thought that maybe that would affect the handling, but you know what, it really wasn't that noticeable.
So this is a 2021 XCR, which means it's not in the same pro ride chassis as yours has. This is a full tunnel. We rode this the other day, actually,
yeah.
And you rode it quite a bit that day. You spent pretty much the whole day on it. What did you think of this sled compared to yours?
It was phenomenal. I really had a blast riding this thing. The positioning and the ergonomics of the handlebars is very similar to my current setup, so that's one thing that I really like. The 129 tunnel, same as the XE, the different skid, everything worked really well. The front end, still super precise.
That's kind of what keeps you coming back, isn't it? The front end is like...
Absolutely, because for me, that's one thing that is really important to me. I want to be on a sled that, you know, I'm comfortable on, especially going around corners and stuff. I don't have to worry about, you know, it getting out of control.
You've now got the XCR, it comes with the Walker Velocity shocks. It has the vented brake. It has the other upgrades as an XCR. Do any of those things benefit you other than that XCR name on the side of the tunnel?
The compromise, like these two snowmobiles are so comparable, the XE and the XCR.
They're basically the same snowmobile.
Yeah.
They really are. If you really want the ultimate in ride quality from your Polaris XC chassis, these shocks are going to give you that. So you will actually notice a pretty drastic benefit to those shocks versus these ones. And the day we rode together, I actually noticed that.
Yeah.
This XT rode great. I have no complaints about it. That XCR rode better. The two, I guess, but you know, yours included in here. Which of these sleds would you want? Like if you had to choose just between these ones, what would you choose?
Right now, I'd say 100% leaning towards the XCR.
Well, after our ride the other day, you came back and said, I'm buying this sled, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, I'm sold. This is it.
Except that there's one of these sleds you haven't ridden yet, and I don't think you can make a decision until you have. I think you have to ride it, and that is, of course, the VR1. And of all the sleds here, this one is actually the perfect sled for you because it's a 650. These ones being 850s, you haven't yet experienced the 650 motor. You haven't ridden this yet, so you're fresh on this. Different ergonomics slightly. I actually prefer them to the XC. They're a little bit better wind protection, better fit and finish. You still get your velocity shocks. You've obviously got that wicked 7S display that has it's just the best display ever.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So before you can make any more decisions, or before you can make your final decision and tell me which one you really, really are going to buy, we got to ride this sled.
Okay, yeah.
I think we should probably go do that right now.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited.
So that was pretty telling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To switch back and forth directly like that. I don't know, man. I mean, I have always loved this chassis, this platform a lot, and this has been my favorite sled. But after doing that, that is better in every way.
Yeah, I'd have to agree for sure. Yeah, it was great being able to switch back and forth like that. It really, really be able to get the feel of the differences between the two. I would definitely pick the VR1 for sure. The handling was still spot on, but it just seemed like lighter up front.
It's like a lazy man snowmobile.
Yeah.
It goes around a corner faster, but you have to put less effort in to do it.
That's right.
So you just kind of sit there and go fast, where on this you got to work. Now this is still amazing.
Oh yeah.
But that's just that much better. So, you know, if you had to pick 650, 850, what do you think you'd pick?
You know what? I'm really impressed with the 650 motor.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite a bit more power than my 600. Between the two, I think for sure I'd pick the 650. It's like super snappy. Still lots of power.
You get all the benefits of the Walker Velocity shocks. You get the 7S display, under seat storage. You get the easily integrated 2-up seat because you got kids, and that's going to be valuable. And a lot of benefits to that sled. And I knew all along that once you rode them back to back, you weren't going to be able to get off that. I knew it.
I know. I didn't want to switch back with you.
So the question remains. The only question that needs to be answered now is, what are you going to do?
You know what? It's going to be this sled for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to just come down to picking the right color.
I think that's the sexiest color there is. So you might not have to look too far. All right, man, well, let's head back.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Luke.
If you enjoyed this video, there's two things you need to do right now. Make sure you click that like button and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our new uploads. We upload content every week and we want to make sure you don't miss out on any of it.